I see most people act like dumbass students. I'm gonna have to write a whole essay tonight and I'm gonna have to pull an all-nighter to study for my exam. Little do they know that they can get double the result with half the work. My goal today is to stop you from being this nerd and get your mental health in order. Before we get into my story, let me just say yes, I got a haircut. Yeah. Laugh it up, laugh it up. I've always gotten good grades without really trying too hard. Throughout recent years, I've barely done any homework. Only when I absolutely had to, I would actually do work at home after school. But I would just get all my shit done in class so I didn't have to worry about it. So last week, I came out of one of my classes and I just felt a lot of anxiety about my exams coming up and all these essays I gotta write, all this shit I gotta do. So I ended up taking my phone out, opening a document, and just start journaling on my phone right there and then so I could just get this off my mind real quick. And as I was journaling, writing it out, I realized that I had to take a step back. I had to realize that it's all bullshit. If I get some shitty grade, if I get a shitty grade on this essay or on this exam, life goes on. I'm still have this shit to do. I still gotta film videos, I still gotta work out, I still gotta read, I still gotta do all this. There is no reason to be stressed about it right now. I just had to remind myself that there is no good in being stressed about it. No good worrying about it. Nothing. I'm gonna get the same grade whether I worried about it or whether I didn't. And I went on a separate document, and I wrote down what was required of me. What do I have to do? What do I have to get done in order to submit this essay, in order to get all my work done for this class? And that brings me to the topic of today's video, which is the 80-20 principle. Now this is a principle that you've probably heard of before, but you've probably heard it in some fucking Instagram grind set and millionaire mindset, 6 a.m., 5 a.m. mindset type shit. But I read this in a business book called The 4-Hour Workweek. And it talked about this principle, which if you don't know is 20% of the work will create 80% of the outcome. So if we're doing homework or studying, 20% of that studying will cause 80% of your grade. I had to remind myself of this rule and the practical advice of how you can use this principle to get more shit done with less time is that you have to stop listening to what your teachers have told you your entire fucking life. Which is when you want to write an essay, you brainstorm, you get a bunch of ideas, you do your research, you get your notes, you a rough draft, and then you write your good draft, and that whole process is bullshit. You could have written that good draft on your first go, without having to brainstorm, without having to make a planner, doing all that bullshit. The way that I write essays or I write paragraphs or whatever you have to do, when you're writing shit is I have to research and do whatever, I don't bother writing brainstorming ideas. I don't bother doing any of that shit because it's a waste of fucking time. I see dudes I see fucking people who write a full organizer of all their ideas and they're bringing everything together and they waste a whole fucking 60 minutes on just doing that. Versus me, 60 minutes have passed and I've already written a full essay. Instead of researching and writing down my notes for research, when I'm on an article and I want to use this for my paper, I do a split screen. The article is here, I have my paper here, and I just write down the whole paragraph. I write down all the information right there, obviously my own words, and I'm adding my own information, my own spin to it. But I'm not bothering just writing, okay, this is my ideas for my paragraph, this is how I'm going to write it, this is what I'm going to write about. No, I just write it then. And then I do that 4 more times and I have a fucking whole essay right there. Spend a few minutes on an introduction and conclusion, I'm done. And you might be thinking, oh, well, if I do the whole organizer and if I do all my notes, my final product's going to be better and I'm going to get a better grade than you. You have to remember the principle, 20% of your work will create 80% of the result. Now, obviously, some people are fucking just smarter than others, I'm not going to lie to you. Some dudes are going to spend 15 minutes on an essay and do better than what you could have written with your whole entire fucking life. That's just going to happen, right? But comparing yourself to what you could do, the best that you could do, 20% of your work that you would normally do creates 80% of your grade. So if we take that, let's say I just written an essay on biology, I'm writing it on bees, right? Just hypothetically here. I'm writing this essay on bees ejaculating because of climate change, hypothetically, right? So in 2 separate fucking parallel universes, in one universe, I'm writing this. In one universe, I'm getting all my research, taking all these notes and stuff, I'm getting all this information, all these studies, and then I'm making this organizer on how I'm going to present all this information in a nice way, in a way that flows well, and then I start making a rough draft, I start editing, and then I get my good copy. And it takes me a week to do that, let's just say, a week of working on it every day a little bit, right? That would get me a 95. Versus if I spend fucking 2 days on just writing, on just going on the research and just writing the paragraph one by one, just reading off, just going off of the article that I'm reading and just changing it up a bit. And then I have a finished essay in 2 days. But it gets an 80. I am still getting that fucking grade. It's the difference between an 80 and a 95. But you spend fucking you spent fucking 5 more days on this when you could have been spending it on other classes. When you could have been spending it on your own mental health, spending it on your own goals, fucking working out, exercising, reading, meditation, things that actually improve your life. For what? For 15% extra. Unless you're gonna get fucking brutalized when you come home with a 80%, that is fine. Like, stop being these fucking dumbass students that like, oh, I have to get a 98% in the class, or or the world's ending, the world's on fire. Like, like if you want to become a doctor or a lawyer, yeah, you probably need the good grade, man. But that's not most people. Most people are not becoming doctors, except for certain communities. Now, if you want to spend hours and days of your own time to get that extra 5% mark, the extra 10% mark on your essay, on your exam, whatever, I can tell that you don't value your time very much. Of course, if you're trying to become a lawyer, doctor, that's something different. But if you're trying to become a fucking psychologist or if you're a dude and you're doing that, I can tell you don't have much going for you in your life right now. But to actually use this principle, the 80-20 principle, look at your work, look at what you have, write down on your notes, write down what you have to submit, what you have to do to finish the course. I'm assuming this is fucking crunch time, you got essays, exams coming up. And by each class, write down what you have to do, not what you should do, not what you should do, not like, oh, I should study for this physics exam, but what you have to submit. And then from there, you want to break it down. What do I have to do to complete this task, to complete this essay? What do I have to do? Well, I need an introduction, I need body paragraphs, I need a conclusion. Okay, how do I get those paragraphs? Well, I gotta write it, of course. Yeah, I could do a bunch of research and stuff, but I don't need that much research. What is the littlest amount of work to get most of the result? Stop thinking about all the planners and stuff. I have to figure this out and do all this research. What is the littlest amount of work that you can do to get this done? And then go and do it. And if you have extra time, you finish all your shit for all your classes, you have extra time, and you really want that grade, then you can add all your fucking bullshit. You can fix it all up, add more stuff. But all you have to do is focus on what's required of you. Simplify it, man. Don't complicate things, man. You're fucking up your mental health. You're fucking up your mind, man. Focus on what's required of you. Before I end this, I wanna leave you off with a quote. A quote from Tim Ferriss, who wrote the book The 4-Hour Work Week, which I talked about earlier. Believe it or not, it is not only possible to accomplish more by doing less, it is mandatory. Don't be afraid to give up the good for the great. Peace out.